So I'm sitting here with my wife, and we're just discussing the crazy night that we had tonight.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah,
Twilight Zone.
it's like you never know. You go out and you think you're gonna have a
A nice
fun,
night.
right, fun, enjoyable night, and then sometimes it's not in the cards. Sometimes it's just the unexpected happens, and you have like anarchy. That's
Oh
it,
my
like
god.
chaos. You know what I mean? That this was a crazy night at Caffrey. I've never thought in a million years. You know what it was, but it just seemed right from the beginning.
Yeah.
It just seemed like you see, like now here's the thing. The guy Dan said something that I found very weird, and even my wife agreed with it. I know the haters they're gonna agree with Dan, the owner, but he was like, they're 16 years old. So I'm like, and I'm like, what does that mean? He goes, they're 16 years old. I'm like, okay, so I don't have the right to like photograph them. I don't have the right to video them with their consent. Of course I do.
But say how you said this in front of a police officer. You had this conversation right in front of the police
I'm going to
officer.
get to that, honey. But let me just make my point. Listen to me. If you look at YouTube, are you ready? How many children are on YouTube? Not, not even 16 years old. I see kids on YouTube who are like 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old. In other words, children have the right to be either photographed or filmed. Obviously, it has to be in an appropriate nature. Obviously, right? You know, other than that, they have to be of legal age. If it's not appropriate, meaning if the let's say you have a girl that's like half naked or something and she's 16, that's different. You can't have that. Okay, but the girl is professionally dressed. She's in her business, her restaurant uniform, and she has every right to be, if I if she agrees to it, she agrees to it. She says, "I would like you to film me," and when I film her, I'm not doing anything that's inappropriate. Like we're joking around. I'm talking to her about AMC or GameStop, and I'm talking to her about just being the Apefather. Wow, like funny stuff. And she always seemed to appreciate it and love it. But on this particular evening, it seemed like even the two young girls seemed to be irritated. They were just like, "We're sick of you. We're tired of you." Okay, well, here was the simple solution. You want to hear what the simple solution is? By the way, here, salud, gentani, cheers. By the way, the simple solution. Excuse me, they could have said to me. Can you please not film me anymore? I know. I initially said I gave you consent to film me. I gotta call my son back. He's calling. We'll finish this up real quick. I know I initially gave you consent, but please do not film me anymore. I'm just not comfortable being filmed. Okay, so what I would have said is I would have respected her wishes, and I would have said, I'm not going to film you no more. Then that would have been the end of it. Okay, but that's not what happened. That's not what happened. Okay, the owner, well, she wasn't the owner. It turned out she was the manager, Chris. Chris, the mean woman. She was not the owner. I assume she was the owner. She was the manager. She goes, "You asked permission to film my staff." And I'm like, "I did." I did, and they agreed. And then she walks away from me. It's like, what? The whole thing was very surprising. I go to Caffrey sometimes 2 to 3 times a week. I spend anywhere between $300 to $400 a week at that place. I give the waitresses minimum and the waiters minimum $100 tips. In some cases, higher than like there's been cases I gave 140, 150. Okay, it all depends on my mood. It all depends on the service. It all depends on the dinner, right? Okay. To treat a customer that is that loyal in the way that she treated me, she threw me out. She kicked me out. She said, get out of my restaurant." She says, "I'm sick of you. I'm sick of your YouTube channel." But then here's where she went really far. She goes, "Even your wife doesn't like you." And I was just like this. Right, Jen? Come on, Jen. Talk a little bit.
I'm just in shock. Like, first of all, I missed all that because I was still sitting at the table, And I just can't believe that she would make such a statement like that, not really knowing us or anything like that, saying that your wife doesn't. That's like fighting words. You know what I mean? Like that's just very inappropriate.
I didn't want to get into it, but we had a couple of deaths in our family recently. My uncle passed away yesterday, and Jennifer had a death in her family, and there was she was on the phone with her relatives. So there was this one time, I think it was a few weeks ago, where Jennifer, she was on the phone. She walked out of the restaurant. She came back like 30 minutes later. So they had this assumption that I guess we were fighting, or because I remember the waitress kept asking me, "Is your wife coming back?" And I was just like, well, I didn't want to get personal. I just said, "I'm sorry, she's on the phone, with a relative." But to make a statement like that.
Yeah, that's really
And like I
remarkable.
said, I lost my uncle. He passed away yesterday. Very dear friend to my father. I mean, not well, he was his uncle. When I was saying friend, but I mean, they were best friends. That's what I meant to say. They were very, very. They weren't just family. They were the best of friends, and I loved him. I respected him to the highest level, and I gave my respects, and we paid our respects, and God bless him. Salute, Uncle Joe, in heaven. God bless you. You will always be loved and missed. Salud, Gentani. God bless you. And, God bless my wife's aunt as well. God bless her. The thing is that I just was shocked how this woman spoke to me. I couldn't believe it. She's like, I'm sick of you. I'm sick of your YouTube channel. She says your own wife doesn't like you. Get out.
Wow.
So now I'm going to admit the truth to you. I cursed her. And I admitted it to the owner. I admitted it. I said, listen. I said, go f yourself. You stupid biatch. Like I'm not gonna allow someone to talk to me that way. I don't care who you are. No one's gonna talk to me that way, and that's just the way it is. So listen, we were able to reason together, me and the owner. At first, he seemed to be very ticked off when he first spoke to me. He's like, I heard, I had witnesses that you cursed. And I said, yeah, I cursed, but do you want to know why? I said, let me explain it to you. And the conversation went well. I mean, we kind of had a little back and forths. Like there was two back and forths. The one back and forth was he says to me, I don't understand why you're filming, like a 16-year-old girl. Now, let me explain something to all of you, okay? Because I know there's going to be a lot of wise guys and wise girls and haters. And, because that's just who you are at the internet. You're all a bunch of trolls. I mean, I hate to say it, but you're all haters, okay? There is nothing illegal about taking a photograph, a picture, or a video of a girl or a guy who's 16 years old, as long as it's appropriate, meaning that, you're not taking, look, it could be argued if the girl was in a very, even a bikini, let's just say, but it was very revealing. You understand what I'm trying to say? That could be argued. Maybe that's something you can't feel something like that because that could be considered not appropriate. Okay, but when a person who is in a business attire, she's in her professional restaurant attire, and she says, "Yeah, sure, you could film me." And what is she? And what are we doing that's so bad? What is she saying? AMC, GameStop, the Pluto, we're laughing. We're joking with each other. It's nothing. It's all innocent. It's all innocent. So I basically told the guy Dan, the owner. I said, "Listen, me Dan. I don't know what you're talking about with that, brother. But if you have a couple of hours, one day where you're not busy, I said, do me a favor. Go on YouTube. You're gonna notice there's about out of a world of 7 billion people, there's about 1 billion children on YouTube. Children are allowed to be on YouTube. Okay, children are allowed to be. You can take a picture of them. There's not as long as it's appropriate, as long as it's respectful. Anything else you wanted to add?
I'm just in absolute shock over the whole situation. I don't even know where to start. I don't know anything. I mean, it was just one of those really bad nights that you just can't believe really happened. you know. But it's just like I said, I just knew as soon as we walked in, it was just not a good
There was
situation.
no basis
I just felt it, you know.
for her to throw us out.
No,
There
I
was
mean
nothing that we did.
she just made up her mind from before anything happened. That she just whatever, she just didn't like you
See,
for
you
whatever
have
the
to
reason
understand,
was.
excuse me, honey, you have to understand something about me. I've always believed something my whole life. Okay, I'm going to tell you something. Treat those the way they treat you. Now, I've never been one to believe that someone, because they're older than you, or if someone is a woman, or if someone is a man, or if someone is any age for that matter, I don't give a shit. I'm going to come, you want me to be honest with you? I'm going to come flat out and be perfectly honest. Look, nobody has the right to treat you with disrespect. It doesn't matter. So what are you saying to me? Because someone is 10 years older than me or 20 years older than me, they have the right to treat me with disrespect? No, no, no. And it's the same thing if someone was 10 years younger than me. They don't have the right to treat me with disrespect. So do I respect my elders? I do. But they don't have the right to insult me or insult my family or insult my wife. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Okay. This woman insulted my family. She said my wife doesn't like me. What am I supposed to do? I'm going to tell her to go F herself. So that bent the owner out of shape. Then we had 10 Karens sitting at a table.
Oh my god.
They're screaming at the top of their lungs the whole time up there, screaming like you don't remember that day we went out, like screaming, to the point where our waitress, she was this very nice elderly woman, she kept apologizing, like, would you like to move, to another table? I'm like, it's all right. So I just basically told them, I'm like, can you stop screaming? Please, I'm trying to relax here. So one of the women there told me to go F myself. She told me to go F myself. So what did I say in response? I called her a fat pig. Now you might say that's not right. My wife's like, what? You may say that's disrespectful, but once again, it goes back to the beginning of the conversation. I treat people the way they treat me. If you treat me with respect, I treat you with respect. If you treat me with disrespect, I treat you with disrespect. That's just the way it goes. I can't change that about my personality. That's who I am. I'm sorry. Okay, so that led her to go to the manager, this Karen who was sitting next to her, screaming at the top of her lungs, and complain about me. Now the thing was, this woman, the manager, Chris, she already had it with me. She had it. She had it. She said, "Just get out of here. Get out of my restaurant." And then the next move was I spoke with the owner and we resolved it. But I'm honestly, I don't really have any interest in going back to Caffrey's anymore. I mean, even though look, the guy there did the right thing. I'm not saying that he didn't do the right thing. I didn't eat the food. I'll be honest with you. I gave it to my mom. I gave it to my dogs. I don't know. I don't. How do I know he didn't wipe his balls or his ass? I don't know. Not that I'm saying. Listen, I know what you're thinking. You're like, but you're gonna make your mother read that, right? I know what you're thinking. I don't think they did that. Listen. That's just psychological crazy shit that goes through my head. But I ended up buying two pies. I bought a round. I bought a square. You know. I mean, when you're telling people to go f themselves, it's kind of hard to bite into a nice juicy steak. But you don't know what they did with that steak, right? No, nah, but I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's just all. It's what's your opinion on that, Jen? Like, do you think he stuck this steak up his ass? I don't know. It's possible.
Do I think Dan did that? No, I don't think Dan did that. No, that's all I have to say.
All right. Anyway, I mean, it's possible one of the I don't want to say Mexicans. I can say you're racist, but they're Mexicans that work in the back. I'm not being racist. I've seen them. Maybe they put their sweaty balls on the steak. I don't know. I'm just saying it's possible. That's all I'm saying to you. I'm not trying to be racist. All right, stop with all that. Why do you have to say because they are? There are Mexican workers that cook the food. I've seen them. It's not. Listen, if I go to an Italian restaurant and there are Italian people who are the chefs, and I say there's Italians that work there, would you say I'm racist? I mean, it's like you can't say nothing, and this whole world's so politically correct. You can't say nothing anymore. The fact are, they have a Mexican chef and they have Mexican employees. So I'm just saying to you, maybe it's possible they rub their ass or their balls on the steak. Can I prove this? No.
Or maybe Chris got her hands on it.
Well, yeah, I don't think she was there. She's just that was just a mean woman, man. She's just a cruel, mean, miserable, horrible woman. I could just tell. You could tell. Look, my opinion of that woman is most likely she's not married, either by divorce or who knows what. She could have stressed her husband out to the point maybe the guy dropped dead. God forbid. God forbid. And I don't wish that on nobody. I'm just saying. But this is definitely, in my opinion, not a woman that you'd want to spend more than maybe 5 seconds with. This is a very mean, horrific. Just a. Did you ever just meet a very just horrible person, man? This woman's a horrible person. I could tell she. It's just my opinion that she probably treats her employees like garbage. Just my opinion. And I think the employees, I know they're watching my channel and they're probably getting a great charge out of this. So let me just repeat it for all of you to hear. Your manager, that woman, Chris, she's a miserable, she's a heartless, cold, mean, just horrific, disgusting human being. And if I left something out, I apologize. Disgusting. She's a disgusting person for what she did to me tonight. I treated all of her staff. I treated them like gold. $100 tip, $120, $140 tip, $150 tips. I go there 2, 3 times a week. I spend $300, $400 a week on food. That's how you treat me. That's the way you treat me. You throw me out. So, the guy there tried his best to resolve the situation. He tried his best. He bought us a dinner. Will I go back there again? No. No. That's the end of Caffrey's. And if you really want me to be perfectly honest with you, their food it's very, very mediocre. If you want me to tell you the truth, they never cook the steak right. Every time I go there, the steaks are always undercooked. The meat's not really the best. It's very poor meat. I've been. It's like you can't compare that to like you go to say like the Chart House. Golden Nugget. You can't compare that to Peter Luger. You can't compare that to a real steakhouse. So it will not be missed. It will not be missed. Anything else to add?
I think I need a drink. A nice alcoholic drink.
Anyway, salud, gin tonic.
Oh my god.